Hi there, welcome back to this channel. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through an important topic in Databricks Unity Catalog, which is how to request access. Unity Catalog is the governance layer in Databricks that helps us to manage permissions, security, and access to data and assets across workspaces. And in a real-world environment, not every user has full access to everything. So being able to request the right level of access to catalog, schema, or table is a critical part of collaboration and data governance. In this video, I'm going to show you step by step how this process works and how you can streamline your request so you can focus more on working with data and less on waiting for approvals. Let's jump into the video. By the way, if you're new to this channel and not yet a subscriber, please click on the subscribe button and toggle on the bell icon so that you can be informed of new videos. This is my Microsoft Azure Databricks workspace, and this is named Citadel_WK. The first thing we want to do is to add users to accounts in the account console. So I'm going to navigate to accounts.azuredatabricks.net, and in my Microsoft Entry ID, I've got 2 users. I'm going to quickly show you those 2 users. I'm going to navigate to Entry ID, and I want to click on users, and I've got the Abiola as the admin, I've got Enoch, and I've got Zoe. So these are registered accounts in my tenant. So I'm going to come back here and I want to click on user management on the left hand side, and we can see we can add users to the account. Account users can use the account console to view and connect to their workspaces. I'm going to click on add user, and I'm going to type in the new user email address, which must correspond to the Microsoft Entry ID. I'm going to type in Enoch at cornerstoneanalytics1.onmicrosoft.com. This is the email address, and I'm going to type in the person's name. Let me just use Enoch Abiola, and I'm going to click on add user. This is now going to show me the user information, which includes the ID, the email address I just provided, and the first name and last name. I'm going to just click on the roles, and I can also grant them account admin, marketplace admin, or billing admin, but that's not needed in this case, so we can just go with this. So once that's sorted, I'm going to just cancel this, and I can say Enoch Abiola now added under the user management. I'm going to add one more person, and this is going to be Zoe at cornerstoneanalytics1.onmicrosoft.com, and I'm going to type in the name here, and I'm going to click on add user. Again, this is going to be added. I'm going to click on cancel. Now I'm going to proceed to grant these newly added users the permissions on the Citadel workspace so that they can perform their job functions to select, build insights, and so on. I'm going to click on workspaces, and I want to click on the Citadel workspace, and I've got the configuration which shows the region, metastore, resources, and the network policy. I want to navigate to the permissions tab, and I can see I've got Abiola, who is the admin. I'm going to click on add permissions, and I'm going to set from the user management that I just added. I'm going to set for Zoe, and I can see that populated here. I can determine the kind of permission this user should have. In this case, just a normal everyday user. I'm going to click on save. Alternatively, I can even add Enoch straight away, so I don't have to do them one after the other. I'm going to click on save, and the 2 users are now added to the Citadel workspace as users, and we maintain the admin. That's nice. Now once that's sorted, I'm going to come back to the configuration, and we want to give the 2 users the URL in order to be able to log in and authenticate using their respective Microsoft Entry ID. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to navigate to this browser, and I'm going to paste the workspace URL and click enter. So if you're doing it for the first time, you need to select your Microsoft Entry ID in order to be able to authenticate and continue. So in my case, I've done that already, so I don't need to authenticate again. So I can see the Citadel workspace, and I can see the Enoch as the user in this case. I'm going to also come to this Firefox browser, and I'm going to paste the URL and press enter. I'm going to authenticate as Zoe Abiola in order to be able to access the same workspace. So I'm going to pick the account and click on sign in, and we should be able to have access to the workspace. Amazing. So this is now sorted. Now we want to go ahead and create catalog, schemas, and tables in the admin account. So I'm going to come back to my Edge browser and I'm going to go to the workspace itself. I'm going to navigate to the catalog. And for now, I've got system and the default citadel underscore WK Unity Catalog. I'm going to click on this plus sign and I want to add a new catalog. Let's call this one learning new catalog. And I'm going to choose the storage location as within the same citadel underscore WK and click on create. So this is going to create the catalog, and that's that. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to create two schemas. So in this demonstration, we're going to assume that Zoe is actually working in the HR department and Enoch in the sales department. So you want to see how we can grant them permissions on top of the HR and the sales data so that they can perform their job functions. So I'm going to click on create schema and let's call this one HR department, and I'm going to select the same solid location and then click on create. So this now created. I'm going to select the catalog again, click on the create schema, and let's call this one sales department, and I'm going to choose the same storage location and click on create. And there we go. We have the two schemas created. Now let's go ahead and load our HR employees data into the HR department as a managed table. I'm going to click on the schema and then I'm going to click on the create. I want to create a table and I'm going to browse to my downloads and I can see the HR employees.csv. I'm going to double click and this is going to show the columns and the rows in that table, and I can see the location. This is the catalog name, the schema name, and this is going to be the table name, which we can modify based on personal preference. So we can see all the column names and the rows, and I'm going to click on create at the bottom right hand corner, and this is going to start creating the HR underscore employees as managed table in the HR department schema of the learning new catalog. That's sorted. I'm going to click on this to refresh, and I should be able to see the HR underscore employees. I'm going to click on that, and I can click on the sample data, and I'm going to see all the data. Absolutely awesome. Let's come to the sales department. Click on the schema name, click on the create, and I want to create a table. I'm going to click on this to, and I'm going to click on create at the bottom right hand corner. And again, this is going to be created in a matter of seconds. All right, so this is now created. I can refresh so that I can see the table, and I can click on the sample data, and we have all the records. Now I'm going to navigate to the browser here, this Chrome browser, and I'm going to click on this refresh, and I'm going to navigate to the catalog, and we should be able to see the learning new catalog. And then when I expand, you can see the department, HR department, and the sales department schemas. Now, when you over your mouse, as we can see, we have MetaStore only access. So this simply means the MetaStore admin is the only person who can access all the objects within the schemas. So they don't have this permission to be able to access them. So when I click on this for now, I can see at the top right hand corner here that this person needs to request for access in order to be able to access all the objects in this HR underscore department schema. When I come to the sales also, we can see the same thing. So they need to request for a permission, and that's one of the new feature in Databricks. So I'm going to show you how we can enable them to request for permissions on the objects in order to be able to perform their job functions. Before that, I'm going to come to this Firefox, and let me just click on this to refresh, and I'm going to navigate to the catalog, and I can see the learning new catalog schema again. I can see all the schemas and the table names without being able to see the content. We cannot see the sample data because we don't have the privileges. That's fine. So in order for them to be able to request permissions, I'm going to come back to the admin account, and let's start with the HR department schema. I'm going to click on the schema, not the table name, and I'm going to click on the schema. And we've got manage access request destination. So we're going to configure the request so that when maybe Enoch and Zoe are requesting, this is going to be routed to either an email, a Slack, or maybe MS Team channels. But let's just click on the manage access request destination, and we want them to send this to an email notification. So I'm going to type in my email here. So this is my email address, and this simply means when they request for access, all of the requests will be sent to this email destination, and then we can review, we can approve and disapprove based on the job need. So I'm going to click on update, and that's now updated on the HR department. Let's do the same thing for the sales department. I'm going to click on the name of the schema, click on the schema, manage access request destination. I'm going to paste the same email, click on update. So we can see request destinations updated successfully. I'm going to come back to the Chrome browser, and let me just refresh the URL, and let me just refresh the Firefox also, and let me come back to this. So when I go to, in this case, the sales or the HR department schemas, we can see the request permissions now enabled, which is really cool. So this is actually possible because we've actually granted the permissions in order to request for access on these schemas routed to my email address. So in this case, let's say Enoch wants to perform select on the sales department, then he can go ahead and click on request permissions, and I can see the principals, and we can choose the privileges preset. So in this case, this person just wants to use the schema and of course the catalog, and then they just want to perform simple select. They're not going to be able to update, that is to modify the content of the tables, just to perform select. So we can see request permissions on the learning new catalog dot sales department schema, and then on the table within this sales department. So I'm going to move that to the bottom, and then they also need to tell us why they need this. So I can just say, okay, this is needed to perform select and query the sales data for insight building. And I'm going to click on requests. So this is going to show me this notification access requested successfully. So a notification will automatically come into my email address as the admin of the workspace. I'm going to come to my browser, and I've got my Outlook opened, and in some seconds, there we go, the notification just arrived, and I'm going to click on that, and I can see a new Unity Catalog access request is awaiting your review, and we can see the details, the requester name on behalf of, and then we can see the object of which the request is being made on, and I can see the privileges that is going to accompany this request and the comments. So in order to be able to review this, I'm going to click on open permission settings, and a new tab is opened automatically, and I'm going to see all the requests again, and then we can now determine whether we're going to approve or not. So we can see requester, object, requested, privileges, select, use schema, and we can now determine the approval method. Either we want to add them to a principal groups, or we just want to grant them privileges directly. So in this case, I just want to grant them access to the object directly. I'm going to click on continue, and then we can also review grant on this catalog and the department, and then we can see the name of the principal, and then we have the prerequisites, use catalog, perform select, and then this is going to automatically add the grant use catalog also, because you need to have use catalog before you can actually use the schemas or be able to perform any select within the objects. So once this is fine, I'm going to click on confirm, and this is now granted successfully. And then we can see under the permissions tab, we've got the name of the requester, that is the principal, and then the privileges that have been granted on what certain objects. So once this is sorted, I'm going to come back in, and I can refresh for Enoch. And when I refresh, I can go ahead and check the schema. So this is going to automatically be enabled. So we can see this is not enabled. And then we can see the sales department. And then we have the sales data table. And then if you have the select, you can, of course, read the sample data. And that's it. Let's quickly come to the queries. And let me just open these queries. And we can query the table. So this is the table sales data, and let's just perform maybe 5 record selection of the row. So let's select star from sales data. All right, so I'm going to quickly choose the new catalog, and then let me choose the sales schema and click on this. So this is going to work now. All right, so there we go. We are able to perform select. Absolutely awesome. Now let's go to the Firefox, and when I refresh, this person has not made any request, so she's not going to be able to see the content of either the sales or the HR data. So in this case, Zoe needs to query the HR employees table object, so she can request for the permissions. So click on that, and then I can provide what kind of request that is needed. So in this case, she just want to perform select, and I'm going to just type something. Let's just type in needed to see the HR records, and I'm going to click on request. So this is going to automatically come to my Outlook. So I'm going to come back here, come in here, and I'm going to wait for some seconds. And again, the mail will automatically drop in, so I can see that here. And then I can quickly go ahead and review the request. So click on this open permission settings, and then we can see the review access request. So again, I'm going to just grant privileges to the principal and click on continue. And again, I'm going to grant them the select and then the use schema. And of course, they must be able to use the catalog. So click on confirm, and this privileges is now successfully granted. So we can see all the details. I'm going to quickly come here and click on this to refresh. And then when I refresh, we should be able to see or query the content of the HR employees table object. So there we go. So you can see she's able to see this, but not the sales. So we're able to see what belongs to our job roles. And I can click on the sample data, and I can see the data. Let's come to the queries, and let me just open this. And I'm going to quickly navigate to the learning new catalog. So click on this to switch, and I can go ahead and run this select star from the HR department and so on, so we can see the record. Or let's just remove 3 records and run this again, and this is working as expected. So let's assume that Zoe wants to perform an update operation on the HR employees table using this update HR employees, and then we are setting the job title to sales, where employee ID, in this case James Merritt, is equal to this. So when I run this, I'm going to get an error, or she's going to get an error, because she doesn't have the permission to do so. So you can see permission denied. User does not have modify on table object. So they can request by clicking on this request permission. And when I click on this, then I can just add this modify, and I can just put in something here, just type in demo or notes, and I'm going to click on request. And there we go. A new email is automatically sent to the destination. So I'm going to come back here, and I think that's okay. Yeah, that's the request here. So we can see the privileges is modify, and if the job requires them to be given these privileges, then we can review, and then we can grant them this privilege. So there we go. I'm going to just grant them straight away. Click on continue, and then we can see that here. Click on that. So this has been granted. So I'm going to come back here, and the next time I run this is going to work because the permission has been granted. And then let's see the results. So there we go. Number of affected roles is 1. So what about if we want to deny or revoke the privileges? Of course, we can easily do that from the admin account. So in this case, let's say we want to take all of these privileges from them. Let's say we don't want them to be able to modify again. I can take this away and I can click on this revoke, and that's going to be revoked. So similarly, if I want to do the same thing for Enoch in the sales team, I can click on the permissions tab, and if we don't want them to perform select or whatever privilege, then we just go ahead and select, and then we revoke. So this is an important data governance part of Databricks, and I trust you enjoyed this video. If you do, please like, share, follow me for more video because there's a lot to come. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.